If you have energy within you that burns, that distracts, that pulls you toward desire but leads to no creation, then listen to me now. This fire was not given to you to waste in indulgence. It was given to build empires, write great works, lead nations, and conquer yourself. The greatest men in history were not free from lust. They were masters over it. They took the very power that ruins the common man and transmuted it into vision, enterprise, and immortality. You will not escape this force, but you can command it. And once you do, your energy will no longer betray you. It will build your legacy. This is not for the weak. It is not for the drifter. It is for the man who is ready to take what once ruled him and bend it to his purpose. What you will hear in this instruction is not a suppression of energy. It is the elevation of it. And when you apply it, you will become unstoppable. Now listen, not with curiosity, but with the decision to become master over yourself. There is no force within the human body more potent than sexual energy. It is the invisible current that moves empires, topples kings, drives men to conquest, and fuels the highest expressions of art, invention, and genius. It is the root of all creation. Every child, every idea, every movement of consequence was sparked by this primal power. But the same force that builds nations has also destroyed men by the millions. The same current that once empowered great builders has wrecked those who lack discipline. This is the secret that few will speak plainly. What you do with this energy will determine whether you rise as a master or fall as a slave. If you are controlled by lust, you are not yet a man. You are not yet initiated into your power. You are a servant to your lower nature. You have not harnessed the fire. You have let it consume you. And let me be very clear. You will not command fortune. You will not lead men. You will not influence history if you cannot first govern your own flesh. That is not a judgment. It is a law. Sexual energy, when transmuted into higher action, becomes the driver of all real achievement. Look to history, and you will see its pattern. The emotion of sex, so misunderstood, so misused, has been the secret behind the endurance of visionaries, the stamina of warriors, and the magnetism of leaders. When properly directed, it becomes persistence, charisma, focused thought, and creative genius. The greatest musicians, the greatest orators, the greatest captains of industry, none were without this burning power. But what distinguished the great from the forgotten was this: they governed it. They made it serve their purpose. They transmuted it into legacy. No man ever achieved greatness who did not master his sexual nature. This is not speculation. This is not morality. This is law. Study the giants of history, men who shook the world with ideas, invention, and power, and you will discover that beneath the surface of their labor was a deep current of restrained, redirected energy. Thomas Edison, who labored through the night in pursuit of invention, was a man of relentless concentration. He did not waste his vitality on indulgence. He invested it in purpose. Leonardo da Vinci, whose mind brought forth sketches centuries ahead of his time, believed that a man's strength and clarity could be preserved and elevated through sexual restraint. He was not passive. He was disciplined. That is the difference. This is where the average man goes astray. He thinks power means indulgence. He believes the mark of manhood is found in conquest of others. But true mastery is not outward, it is inward. It is not the man who can seduce 1,000 women who builds a legacy. It is the man who can command himself, who can stand firm when the impulse rises, who can direct the fire into the furnace of creation. That man becomes unstoppable. Let me make this plain. I do not tell you to repress this power. Repression is weakness. Repression leads to shame, secrecy, and guilt. I do not ask you to destroy the flame. I ask you to govern it. This power must not be repressed, but redirected. You must take the force that once ruled you and put it to work in your service. You must make it the engine behind your ambition, not the chain around your neck. What are you building with your energy? Are you crafting your vision, or are you spilling your strength into fantasies that leave you empty? Are you climbing the mountain of purpose, or are you circling the drain of temporary pleasure? Be honest, for the man who cannot face his truth cannot fix it. There is no shame in having desire. You were created with it. But there is deep cost in being ruled by it. The man who indulges every urge becomes soft, indecisive, spiritually bankrupt. His eyes become dull. His voice loses weight. His work lacks staying power. Why? Because the very fuel of his vitality, the sacred substance of his will, is being wasted. I ask you now to reverse this pattern, to stop handing your strength to the world's temptations, to reclaim your fire and put it into your craft, your mission, your legacy. Every time you withhold indulgence and act on purpose, instead, you become more powerful. You sharpen your mind. You deepen your spiritual connection. You send a signal to the subconscious that you are no longer a victim, you are a commander. This shift begins with a decision, and once the decision is made, it must be enforced through habit. When the impulse to indulge arises, you must act, not on the impulse, but on your purpose. Stand up, move your body, breathe deeply, recite your definite chief aim, begin working with your hands, write, create, building plan, call, serve, transmute. This is how kings are formed, not by feeling something, but by directing it. Let this now become your first command over the day. I am not my desire. I am the director of my energy. I command my passions, and say it again, not quietly, not as a question. Say it as a declaration of identity. For as you speak, you instruct the subconscious. And as the subconscious accepts the instruction, you become what you repeat. This is not mystical. It is mechanical. You must begin to understand your body as a vessel of power, not a toy for pleasure. Your mind is the governor. Your energy is the servant. When this alignment is in place, nothing can stop you. Women will respect you more. Men will follow you. Your presence will sharpen. Your vision will intensify. Your willpower will grow. Why? Because you have ceased being a drifter, and you have become a directed force. And that is what the world obeys, a directed man. If you continue as you are, ruled by appetite, then you will continue to circle the same mountain of regret, shame, distraction, and weakness. But if you choose this day to transmute, to redirect, to refine, then everything changes. Your energy becomes strategy. Your thoughts become lightning. Your ambition becomes destiny. Now say it once more. I am not my desire. I am the director of my energy. I command my passions. And act like it. You were not given desire to waste it. You were given it to transmute it. Sexual energy is not to be feared, nor hidden, nor shamed. It is to be harnessed, converted, like heat into electricity, into a higher form. This is the law of sexual transmutation. And it is one of the most misunderstood, most underused, and most powerful principles available to man. What is sexual transmutation? It is the deliberate process of converting the energy of desire into ambition, into discipline, into creativity, into achievement. It is the elevation of a force meant for reproduction into a force for greatness. It is the taking of that which is primal and transforming it into that which is immortal. The desire that once ruled your body can become the engine of your empire, but only if you direct it. You must understand this. Energy cannot be destroyed, but it can be elevated. It can be diverted. It can be lifted. The same fire that burns down a village can be harnessed to power a city. The same river that floods the land can irrigate crops when governed by a channel. So it is with the emotion of sex. The man who seeks to repress it will fail. The man who seeks to indulge it will become a slave. But the man who chooses to redirect it, he becomes a force of nature. The fuel of sexual energy is emotion, and emotion is the language of the subconscious mind. Whatever emotion you attach to thought, your subconscious begins to reproduce. And so the man who consumes lustful imagery, who rehearses indulgent fantasy, who indulges in pleasure without purpose, is programming weakness into his own system. He is clouding his clarity. He is lowering his power. He is diffusing the very force that was meant to elevate him. His mind becomes distracted. His will becomes soft. His vision becomes vague. But the man who transmutes, who takes that emotion and attaches it to his definite chief aim, he becomes sharp, strong, focused, and unstoppable. His mind receives the charge of energy and uses it to build. His emotions begin to support, not sabotage. His subconscious, trained by discipline, begins to work day and night toward his chosen destiny. The fire no longer burns him, it carries him. Now here is the principle that must become law in your life. Transmutation begins with attention. What you look at, you feed. What you dwell upon, you become. Where your eyes go, your energy flows. This is not poetic. It is mechanical. If you fix your gaze upon indulgence, your energy will follow. If you fix your gaze upon your vision, your energy will follow. The direction of your life is determined not by the strength of your desire, but by the direction of your attention. So I ask you, what are you watching? What are you imagining? What are you craving in secret? You cannot build in the light what you are poisoning in the dark. You cannot walk in power while indulging in weakness. You cannot speak of purpose while feeding addiction. These are not moral statements. These are success principles. You must now become ruthless about what enters your eyes, what lives in your thoughts, and what commands your attention. Every man is tempted. That is not the issue. The issue is, What does he do when the impulse rises? And here is your instruction. Do not act upon it. Channel it into your definite aim. Do not repress it. Redirect it. When the fire rises in you, do not let it burn down your discipline. Turn it toward your work, toward your craft, toward your family, toward your physical training, toward your voice, toward your vision. Write, speak, building move. Do not lie still and be ruled. Stand up and rule. You must become the conductor of this power, not its prisoner. And when the moment of temptation comes, do not wait. Act immediately toward your aim. Speak it aloud, write it down. Call someone who sharpens you. Begin a task that demands focus. Walk into the cold air, breathe deeply. Recite this command until your lower self bows to your higher calling. I am not my desire. I am the director of my energy. I command my passions. This must become your internal law, the automatic command of your soul, because the war is not just external, it is inside your thoughts. And he who wins there wins everywhere. You must no longer drift into indulgence and call it being human. You are not just a body. You are a builder, a thinker, a leader. And the men who shape history are not the ones who follow every impulse. They are the ones who master it. Look to the giants of progress, the men who built, who forged, who changed the course of civilization. Thomas Edison trained his body to obey his mind. His appetite was governed. His schedule was sacred. His sexual energy was converted into relentless experimentation. He worked not because he had more energy than other men, but because he used it better. Look also to Leonardo da Vinci, whose journals show a man obsessed not with indulgence, but with exploration. His focus was not diluted. His energy was preserved. His thoughts became vision. His vision became art. His art became immortality. And what of you? Will your energy become evidence of your purpose or a eulogy to your wasted potential? That is the choice. Now say it again, and say it as a king taking back his throne. I am not my desire. I am the director of my energy. I command my passions. From this day forward, your passion will no longer be spent in secret darkness. It will be invested in public discipline. Your desire will no longer be a leak. It will be the furnace that drives your work, your wealth, and your witness. And when you feel the fire rising, you will not fear it. You will transmute it. There is a war raging within every man. Not with the world, not with others, but with himself. The greatest battle is not fought on fields, but in the mind. It is the quiet war between desire and discipline, between appetite and aim, between the flesh and the will. And the man who wins this war gains not just peace, he gains power. This is the lost art of self-conquest. And without it, no man becomes great. Self-mastery is the highest discipline. Every fortune, every invention, every kingdom of industry, every spiritual authority flows from this root. All riches are downstream of personal control. The man who cannot govern his own hands, his own words, his own eyes, his own impulses will never govern a business, a family, a city, or a destiny. He may possess knowledge. He may have talent. But without mastery of self, he remains a servant, tossed about by feeling, driven by appetite, enslaved by lower instincts. The truth is this: the man who cannot govern his own appetites will never govern anything greater. If your stomach rules you, you cannot rule the marketplace. If lust controls your vision, you will lose clarity in your decision. If pleasure is your compass, then legacy is not your destination. But I now offer you something higher than mere restraint. I offer you inner royalty. A man becomes king over circumstances only when he is king over himself. He does not need gold to walk with authority. He does not need a crown to act with power. His dominion begins when he disciplines his own house, his thoughts, his tongue, his time, his body. This is not a call to coldness, it is a call to kingship. You were not born to follow appetite, you were born to rule over it. Dominion is your design, but it must be proven. Hear me well. God cannot trust a man with dominion until he has proven dominion over self. The riches of life, both material and spiritual, are not given to the undisciplined. They are entrusted to those who have trained their emotions to serve their mission. Look to Henry Ford, the great builder of industry. His vision was not born in indulgence, but in restraint. While others were chasing sensation, he was mastering efficiency. He understood that time wasted is life forfeited. His focus was sharp, his decisions were quick, his habits were consistent. Ford was not perfect, but he was governed. And because of that, he governed an empire. So I ask you, what governs you? Is it your will or your urges, your purpose or your pleasure? Do not say, I can't help it. That is the speech of slaves. Say instead, I will train it. Say, I will discipline it. Say, I will command it. Because you can, you must. Or else your life will always be smaller than your potential. When lust arises, when temptation speaks, when the old habits return, do not fold. Do not delay. Do not beg for escape. Stand firm. Speak your definite chief aim aloud. Loud enough for your subconscious to feel it. Begin moving your body. Engage the mind in labor. Put your hands to work. Write, read, walk, building. Call someone who sharpens you. Do something that aligns you with the man you are becoming. This is not about never being tempted. It is about never being ruled. Each time you rise above the flesh, you rise in spirit. Each time you delay gratification, you accelerate transformation. Each time you say no to the lesser, you say yes to the greater. Now make this your morning command. Say it when you wake. Say it when you feel weak. Say it when the enemy of purpose whispers in your ear. I'm a master of myself. My appetite obeys my mind. My body is the servant of my will. Say it until your body listens. Say it until your thoughts align. Say it until the world feels your difference. You must no longer treat your flesh as your master. It is your instrument. It is not the leader of your life. It is the carrier of your mission. Your body is the servant, not the king. You are the king. Your mind is the throne. Your will is the scepter. Your decision is the law. Now govern as such. Do not say you are waiting for strength. Strength comes when obedience begins. Strength is not given in advance. It is built in battle. Every time you win the moment, you build the man. And eventually, that man becomes unshakable. Let the world chase novelty. Let the masses drown in indulgence, but not you. You are in training. You are under divine construction. You are becoming the type of man God can trust with territory, with wealth, with influence, with legacy. Now speak it again, not as a wish, but as a law. I am a master of myself. My appetite obeys my mind. My body is the servant of my will. And then prove it with action, not once, not sometimes, but daily, hourly, when no one sees, especially then, because that is where kings are made, in silence, in secret, in struggle. Lust is not harmless. It is not a mild diversion. It is not a private indulgence that leaves the soul untouched. No, lust is the silent killer of ambition. It erodes a man not with fire, but with softness. It does not strike him down in one blow, but dulls him day by day until his edge is lost, his vision blurred, his spirit weakened. The man who does not conquer lust will eventually be conquered by it. Let me speak with no hesitation. The man who indulges in pleasure before purpose loses both. The pleasure fades into guilt. The purpose dissolves into apathy. He becomes fragmented, uncertain, and ineffective. He may still speak of goals, but he no longer possesses the fire to pursue them. His mind begins to retreat. His energy leaks. His will becomes soft. And worst of all, he doesn't know why. The ancient stories carry truth for those with ears to hear. Consider the story of Samson, the man born with strength beyond any warrior of his time. His power was not earned by labor, it was a gift. His victories were not built on strategy, they were the result of divine favor. And yet, for all his strength, for all his victories, he was brought down not by an army, but by a woman, not by force, but by lust. His mind was conquered long before his enemies conquered his body. Delilah did not need to destroy him, she only needed him to destroy himself. And so he did. He traded his strength for indulgence, his crown for comfort, his mission for momentary pleasure, and he fell. And how many modern men follow the same path? They are not lacking opportunity. They are not lacking talent. They are not lacking time. They are lacking control. They are strong in speech, but weak in self-discipline. They set goals with their mouths, then sabotage them in secret. They cry out for purpose in the day and fall into indulgence by night. They are not bad. They are simply untrained. They are not doomed. They are undisciplined. But that can be changed. You must understand, lust weakens warriors. It clouds the mind. It slows decision. It steals energy. It numbs the spirit. And above all, it creates a cycle of defeat that the man begins to accept as normal. He starts to believe that he is simply inconsistent, that he is just this way. And so he builds nothing. He leads no one. He fulfills no legacy. He drifts. And drift is the great destroyer of men. But you were not born to drift. You were born to dominate. You were not born to serve your senses. You were born to rule them. Every impulse that rises in you is a call to action. And every action you take is a vote for the man you are becoming. You must now see clearly that every impulse has two directions. One leads to greatness. The other leads to destruction. One direction demands discipline. The other requires only surrender. One builds strength. The other builds shame. One direction ends in legacy. The other in regret. And every time you are tempted, you are being asked, which man will you feed today? The world will not warn you. It will dress lust in fine garments. It will celebrate indulgence. It will mock restraint. But you must remember, the world does not build great men. It devours them. If you wish to rise above it, you must live by a higher law. Now you may say, but the pleasure feels real. And yes, it does. But understand, it is the temporary high that costs you permanent power. It is the fleeting satisfaction that steals enduring strength. It is the moment that robs you of momentum. It is the softness that kills the spirit of the warrior. Contrast this with the man who transmutes his desire. He does not lack energy, he has more. He does not live in shame, he walks in clarity. He does not apologize for his strength, he commands it. He channels the same desire others waste, and because of that, he builds where others break. He advances where others stall. He sharpens while others sleep. His life becomes a testament to the law. Energy, when governed, becomes legacy. But energy, when wasted, becomes a grave. Let me say this to you directly. You are not weak. You are simply undirected. You have not yet trained the impulse. You have not yet stood firm in the fire. But that changes today. Not through struggle alone, but through substitution. Do not merely resist, replace. Replace indulgence with labor. Replace fantasy with strategy. Replace sensation with service. Replace secrecy with structure. Replace softness with strength. And how do you begin? With decision, with obedience to your definite aim, with morning rituals that anchor your mind, with hourly reminders that your body serves your mission, not the other way around, and with spoken words that instruct your subconscious mind to support your transformation. Say this now, and say it with certainty, not as a man begging for change, but as a man declaring it. I do not pursue sensation. I pursue strength. I do not live for appetite. I live for purpose. Say it again. I do not pursue sensation. I pursue strength. I do not live for appetite. I live for purpose. Let this be your vow, and let every day be a proof of it. There is no shame in your temptation. There is only danger in surrender. There is no judgment in your past. There is only responsibility for your future. And the man who rises above lust is the man who becomes master, not just of himself, but of his future, his fortune, and his legacy. You will not be perfect, but you will be governed. You will not be without temptation, but you will not be ruled by it. You will not always feel strong, but you will act strong. And in time, you will become unbreakable. Because lust may destroy kings, but the man who conquers it will rule kingdoms of his own making. There is nothing wrong with passion. In truth, it is one of man's greatest assets. It fuels desire, sharpens focus, ignites movement, and carries him across the mountains of difficulty that would stop lesser men. But hear me well, passion without purpose becomes perversion. It turns in on itself. It becomes a weapon used against the man who possesses it. It burns without producing. It consumes without building. It flatters while it destroys. The tragedy of many men is not that they lack energy, but that they waste it. Their eyes are wide, their hearts are ablaze, but their direction is absent. They want much, they feel much, but they build nothing because they have not yet decided what they are here to do. And until a man has found his purpose, he is a slave to every appetite, every emotion, every whisper of distraction. Men without aim will always be slaves to emotion. Emotion needs structure. It needs command. Without it, the strongest impulses, sexual desire, ambition, hunger for meaning, become scattered, diluted, or turned against the man himself. Lust is not evil by itself. It is simply misplaced focus. It is energy with no destination. It is power with no blueprint. But when you find your definite purpose, and more than that, when you commit to it daily, you give your passion a home. You give it walls to press against. You give it a direction, and that direction multiplies its strength. A man who feels strong emotion but is unclear in aim is like a horse without reins. But the man with aim harnesses his power and directs it toward greatness. Look to the life of Andrew Carnegie, a name engraved in the story of wealth itself. He was not born into privilege. He did not inherit fortune, but he had a purpose that devoured excuses. He made it his aim not merely to grow rich, but to lift others through industry, efficiency, and the spreading of libraries and education across the nation. His obsession was not with feeling, it was with function. And because of that, he directed his entire being into service, and the world rewarded him with one of the greatest fortunes of his age. But his wealth was not the result of effort alone. It was the result of energy transmuted into usefulness. While others chased pleasure, Carnegie chased improvement. While others were seduced by distraction, he sharpened his vision. While others drifted, he advanced. He did not deny desire, he redirected it. This is your instruction. You must now begin to direct your energy into writing, building, planning, working, serving, and speaking. You must replace indulgence with impact. When temptation whispers, act. Do not freeze. Do not analyze. Do not argue. Work, move, building, serve, lead. Do something that proves you are governed by purpose, not feeling. Let me be very plain with you. You cannot afford idle time. You cannot afford mental vacancy. The man who sits in stillness without structure becomes a target for distraction. But the man who fills his time with mission becomes impenetrable. His purpose becomes a fortress, and his energy becomes a weapon of creation. Let every hour have a name. Let every morning begin with instruction. Let your day be governed not by mood, but by assignment. Speak your definite chief aim aloud, especially when temptation rises. Say it with force. Say it until your lower self bows. Say it until your subconscious awakens. Let the fire of your desire burn toward your future, not toward fantasy. This practice will train your system. It will build a new association. Desire equals direction. Lust equals labor. Impulse equals impact. In time, your body will respond with purpose, not indulgence, because the law of repetition will have done its work. You must now become the kind of man who is obsessed with his duty, not as a burden, but as a privilege. The man with purpose does not resent sacrifice. He glories in it. He sees every act of restraint as evidence of growth. He sees every moment of redirection as another brick in the foundation of his empire. Now speak this into your being, not softly, with authority. My energy builds. My work is my worship. My legacy is worth more than a moment of weakness. Again. My energy builds. My work is my worship. My legacy is worth more than a moment of weakness. These words are not mere encouragement. They are tools, weapons, instructions. They train your mind to see through the illusion of temporary pleasure and remember the power of permanent progress. And understand this: pleasure is not wrong. Rest is not weakness, but neither must be given leadership over your days. Let them follow your labor. Let them be the reward, not the master. The man who lives for ease dies in regret, but the man who lives for duty dies in honor. Purpose is the compass. Let it point true north. Let every desire be weighed against it. Let every action be a step toward it. And if an impulse does not serve your mission, slay it. No mercy, no negotiation, no delay. You are not here to coast. You are not here to waste. You are not here to blend in with the drift of men who once dreamed and never acted. You are here to build. You are here to multiply. You are here to lead. But none of that is possible until your passion submits to your purpose. So rise, stand, speak, write, building move, serve, lead. Let your day begin not with confusion, but with command. And let that command train your body to obey the call of your legacy. Say it one final time and then go prove it. My energy builds. My work is my worship. My legacy is worth more than a moment of weakness. There is a war being waged for your attention, not with weapons or noise, but with softness, comfort, and slow decay. The world today has become a breeding ground for mental weakness, emotional indulgence, and soft-spoken destruction. Men no longer rise early. They drift late. They no longer stand guard over their mind. They let anything enter. They no longer seek mastery. They seek escape. And so the world does not suffer from a lack of tools or knowledge or possibility. It suffers from a lack of men who have conquered themselves. The masses have been trained to indulge at the first impulse, trained to seek comfort before responsibility, trained to numb rather than to sharpen, trained to chase pleasure instead of principle. And the results are visible: weakened minds, scattered attention, brittle discipline, and shallow spirit. But you must not live as the masses live. You must rise above what is common. You must become uncommon. Hear me well. The masses are trained to indulge. The leaders are trained to delay. One lives for sensation, the other lives for succession. One surrenders to the body, the other trains it. One consumes, the other creates. One is governed by impulse, the other is governed by instruction. Choose now which you will be. This path is not new. The man who chooses the higher road has always been lonely. He has always been misunderstood, but he has also always been remembered. Let me remind you of a man who walked this path under the crushing weight of criticism: Abraham Lincoln. He was not celebrated in his day. He was slandered, doubted, and betrayed. He bore more weight than most men could fathom, and yet he walked with vision and restraint. He did not fall into bitterness. He did not distract himself with pleasure. He did not seek applause. He sought only what was right, and because of this he became immortal, not in flesh but in impact. You will be lonely. You will be called strange. You will be mocked for your restraint. But in time, you will be sought out. You will be followed. You will be remembered, because the world does not reward the man who fits in. It remembers the man who rises above. And what is one of the most seductive temptations the world now offers? Lust disguised as love, attention disguised as affection, pleasure disguised as connection. It flatters the man's ego while feeding poison to his purpose. He believes he is being seen, but he is being softened. He believes he is being desired, but he is being distracted. He believes he is experiencing love, but love does not lower a man. True love builds, uplifts, and elevates. Lust without aim drains. Love with vision builds. You must now see clearly, not everything that feels good is good. Not everything that looks beautiful brings beauty to your life. Not everything that excites the senses strengthens the soul. The wise man looks beneath the surface. He asks, where does this path lead? And if the answer is destruction, no matter how pleasant the beginning, he turns from it. This requires a new kind of discipline, a new kind of clarity, a new kind of command over your environment. You will not bow to what is common. You will rise to what is uncommon. Let that be your vow. Let it be your inner law. And let your mornings become your sacred ground. When the world is asleep in distraction, you will rise in dominion. You will not begin your day with gossip, indulgent thought, or mental drift. You will not check what the world says before checking what your soul says. You will not start the day reacting. You will begin by commanding. The morning hour must be cleansed of all pollution, no lazy speech, no lustful thoughts, no meaningless consumption. You are not a beggar of stimulation. You are a builder of destiny. You do not wake to be entertained. You wake to be entrusted. Your first act must be instruction. Instruct your mind. Instruct your body. Instruct your day. Speak your definite chief aim aloud with power. Declare your identity. Write your plan. Move your body. Sharpen your vision. And give thanks, not because all is perfect, but because you have been granted another day to conquer yourself. Let no man say this path is easy. It is not. It is narrow and it is high. But every step you take sets you apart. Every morning you dominate sets you above the noise. Every lust you overcome sharpens your legacy. Now say this aloud, with strength, with clarity, with decision. I rise early, I think clearly, I act with restraint, I serve with vision. Again, I rise early, I think clearly, I act with restraint, I serve with vision. Let this become your morning creed. Speak it before the day speaks to you. Write it before the world writes on your mind. Obey it before the distractions have a chance to enter. You are not missing strength. You are missing structure. You are not missing willpower. You are missing ritual. And that begins now. And when you are tempted, and you will be, remember this: the temptation is not your enemy. It is your mirror. It shows you where your weakness lives. It shows you what you must train. It shows you what you still serve. So when it rises, do not despair. Stand in it. Look it in the eye. Speak your truth aloud. Move your body. Refuse to feed it. And by doing so, you grow stronger. This world was not made for comfort. It was made for conquest. And the men who change it are not the men who float. They are the men who fight, not with the world, but with themselves. Now rise, cleanse your hour, refuse what is common, and walk boldly into what is uncommon. Say it once more. I rise early, I think clearly, I act with restraint, I serve with vision. The building of a legacy is no casual affair. It is not born of scattered hours and borrowed strength. It is not built in between distractions or stitched together with half-hearted effort. No, a legacy is carved by sustained, directed energy. The kind of energy that does not drift, the kind that does not waste, the kind that remains even when emotion fades, even when applause disappears, even when pleasure calls for attention. A man's future is not shaped by what he dreams, but by what he gives his energy to daily. And here lies the brutal truth. Every act of indulgence steals from your legacy. Every time you feed lust instead of purpose, you are not only losing a moment, you are forfeiting a piece of your power. Your spiritual stamina, your mental clarity, your emotional depth, your creative fire, all of it is depleted when your energy is given to that which does not build. What you waste in lust could have written books, led nations, built fortunes, and shaped destiny. That which leaves you hollow could have been the force behind your impact. Do not tell me you lack time. Do not tell me you lack energy. Tell me where you are spending it. A man's energy is his life force. His attention is wealth. His focus is the compound interest of greatness. Every unit of attention you give is either compounding or evaporating. It is building the next chapter of your life or dissolving your strength in silence. Every hour you give to indulgence is one less hour your legacy will be remembered for. This is not poetry. It is accounting, and your destiny will be tallied by it. Let us take an example. John D. Rockefeller, the man who, by the laws of labor, focus, and control, became the richest man of his era. He did not rise through chaos. He did not climb through indulgence. He built through discipline, silence, precision, and sacrifice. He was not seduced by the glitter of distraction. He was obsessed with order. His journals were filled. His schedule was guarded. His hours were sacred. He did not give his life to appetite. He invested it into a vision. That is why he rose. Rockefeller, like Carnegie, Ford, and Edison, understood that energy is not infinite. It must be placed with care. It must be guarded with conviction. It must be channeled into something greater than the flesh. It must serve something eternal. You too must now become a guardian of your energy. You must be deliberate in every act, aware of every drift. relentless in every redirection. You must no longer spill your strength to feed a moment's sensation. That moment is not worth your legacy. It never was. And when the temptation comes, and it will, you must be ready to act, not later, not when it passes. Now, immediately, with force. Walk, breathe deeply, write your goals, speak your definite chief aim aloud, work with your hands, pray aloud, move your body, rouse your mind, command your spirit. Do not lay still and negotiate. Do not sit and contemplate. Act. Building move, replace, redirect. This is how kings are forged, not by wishing temptation away, but by fighting it with superior force. This is the law. You do not overcome the lower self by argument. You overcome it by action. When you act, you starve the indulgence. When you move, you regain control. When you work, you create value. And value is the opposite of vanity. Now etch this law into your being. Let it burn away every excuse you have ever used to waste your power. My legacy requires energy. I do not spill it in vain. My future is built with focus. Say it again, not as a chant, but as a declaration of war. My legacy requires energy. I do not spill it in vain. My future is built with focus. And now act accordingly. Do not confuse pleasure with peace. Do not trade destiny for desire. Do not hand over your inheritance for a bowl of comfort. You are not here to be numb. You are here to be remembered. You are not here to float. You are here to forge. You are not here to consume. You are here to create. Let your hours be clean. Let your body be governed. Let your attention be sacred. Let your energy be holy, because you are not just building a career. You are not just chasing a number. You are building a legacy that will outlive you. And such a thing demands power, power that must not be spilled on vanity. Say it once more, and say it for the man you are becoming. My legacy requires energy. I do not spill it in vain. My future is built with focus. Let us now address a misunderstanding that has ruined many men, not only in practice, but in thought. Some have come to believe that the woman is the source of their downfall, that she is the snare, that she is the reason they cannot focus, cannot build, cannot rise. But this is false. The woman is not the enemy. Distraction is. Your downfall is not her beauty. It is your lack of discipline. It is not her presence. It is your untrained attention. She is not the one who causes you to fall. It is your response to her that determines whether you stand or stumble. We must speak with moral clarity. This is not a doctrine of blame. It is a law of responsibility. Admiration is natural. The beauty of woman is one of the great wonders of creation. It is to be respected, appreciated, even honored. But worship of the flesh leads to ruin. The moment you place her above your purpose, you have already fallen, not before her, but before your own lower nature. Let this be understood. Women are not your test. Your self-governance is. You are not commanded to despise. You are commanded to direct. You are not called to flee in fear. You are called to rule in focus. The strength of a man is not proven by avoiding beauty. It is proven by not being ruled by it. You must master your thoughts. This is where all corruption begins, not in her clothing, not in her movement, not in her presence, but in the undisciplined thoughts of the man. That is where distraction breeds. That is where vision is stolen. That is where attention is hijacked. You must now become the watchman of your mind. You must now begin to treat your thoughts as sacred ground. No one walks upon them unless they build your destiny. When you begin to see through this lens, your entire relationship with the feminine transforms. You no longer see women as temptation, but as potential partners in purpose. You no longer chase them. You build yourself. And by building yourself, you become the man who attracts by discipline, not by need. There is nothing more dangerous than a needy man. He is a beggar of attention. He is a servant to emotion. He asks for validation instead of bringing vision. He follows beauty instead of leading it. And for this reason, he is always unstable, because his value lives in the response of another, not in the foundation of his own character. But the disciplined man, he is magnetic. He does not shout his worth. He radiates it. He does not seek to impress. He seeks to become. He does not chase validation. He lives in conviction. He walks with focus. He builds with fire. He guards his time. He protects his mission. And because of that, the right people gather. The right woman recognizes him, not because of his words, but because of his presence. Let me say this clearly. The right partner does not distract. She inspires. She sharpens. She supports, but she cannot build a king. You must already be one. She does not crown a fool. She follows a man who has already conquered himself. And that is why this work, this training, this daily transmutation is so vital, because only the man who leads himself can ever be trusted to lead others. There is great power in union between man and woman. The union of love, when based in clarity, honor, and shared purpose, can build empires. It can multiply energy. It can elevate vision. It can ignite faith, but only when both parties are whole, only when both are governed, only when both serve something higher than emotion. Do not seek a woman to save you. Do not expect her to make you strong. That is your burden. That is your privilege. And until you carry it, you will never be ready for her. So now let us shift the conversation. Let us remove the veil of confusion. Let us stop blaming beauty and start building discipline. Let us stop worshiping the image and start commanding the inner man. When your thoughts rise, redirect them. When your eyes wander, refocus them. When desire sparks, harness it. Use that energy not to fantasize, but to strategize, to write, to move, to speak, to build, to labor, to become. And when you are tempted to chase, to impress, to seek approval, return to your law. I honor women. I lead myself. I do not chase. I attract by discipline. Say it again. Let it become the marrow in your bones. I honor women. I lead myself. I do not chase. I attract by discipline. Say it in the morning when your clarity is fragile. Say it in the evening when your guard is lowered. Say it when desire whispers. Say it when the flesh rises. Say it until your mind listens. Say it until your habits obey. Say it until your life proves it. Because the truth is this: you were never meant to serve the feminine. You were meant to honor her by first ruling yourself. You do not serve her best by folding to her presence. You serve her best by fulfilling your purpose. And in the end, the world does not need more distracted men. It does not need more critics. It does not need more charmers. It needs more kings, builders, leaders, men of restraint and fire. You are that man. If you choose to be, if you train to be, if you transmute and rise and lead. Now let that identity rise again in the spoken word. I honor women. I lead myself. I do not chase. I attract by discipline. Look back now on what you have walked through. If you have followed this instruction, if you have spoken the words, written your aim, obeyed the law, you are no longer the same. You may still feel the pull of the old self, but you have stepped into a different current. You are no longer drifting. You are now being drawn upward, not by the world's command, but by the call of your own spirit. You are becoming the man the world cannot corrupt. Let me remind you, sexual energy is power. It is not weakness. It is not shame. It is not a curse. It is a fire. And like all fire, it can destroy or it can build. It can consume your purpose or fuel it. It can bring ruin or resurrection. This power was given to you not to waste, but to wield, to transform it, to transmute it, to make it your servant. But power must be mastered. No one is entrusted with dominion who has not first conquered himself. The man who has not mastered this energy cannot be trusted with riches, cannot be trusted with leadership, cannot be trusted with family, cannot be trusted with destiny. If he cannot guard his inner life, he will never govern the outer world. Transmutation leads to legacy. The moment you learn to channel your desire into creation, into labor, into writing, into planning, into leadership, you multiply yourself. You gain momentum. Your ideas become sharper. Your will becomes firmer. Your walk becomes clearer. The things that used to pull you down now serve as reminders of what you are rising above. Lust is not something to be repressed. It is to be redirected. You do not deny that you feel. You command that feeling to serve. You do not pretend it is not there. You train it to move with you, not against you. You are not called to kill your passion. You are called to consecrate it, to aim it, to guard it, to fuel your ascent with it. Purpose is greater than impulse. The man who lives by impulse is always a slave, never a leader. But the man who holds to his purpose in the heat of temptation is already a king. He may not yet wear the crown, but he has earned it, because the crown belongs not to the loudest voice, or the most charm, or the quickest wit. It belongs to the man who endures, to the man who does not fold, to the man who stands firm when it would be easier to fall. And that is why discipline births kingship, not education, not status, not fortune, but discipline. Quiet, relentless, private, daily discipline. Discipline in thought, discipline in word, discipline in habit, discipline in solitude, discipline when no one sees, because it is in the dark where greatness is born. You are no longer the man who needs to be watched. You are no longer the man who falls when no one is near. You are no longer the man who chases comfort and complains of consequence. Number, you are in training. You are in the furnace. You are being built. And the longer you stay, the stronger you become. This is the price of greatness. This is the path of immortality. This is the calling of the uncommon. So now stand before your day, stand before your weakness, stand before your thoughts and command them, not in passivity but in power, not in emotion but in instruction. The world tempts, the weak collapse, but you are not weak, you are not common, you are in training for greatness. Your appetite is being refined. Your attention is being sharpened. Your thoughts are being purified. Your energy is being multiplied. Your purpose is being revealed. Your presence is changing. You do not need applause. You do not need permission. You do not need to feel ready. You need only to act according to your law, to rise early, to speak your aim, to work your plan, to guard your mind, to walk with honor, to build with fire, and to never again apologize for the greatness you were born to carry. Now repeat this final command, not as a phrase, but as your creed. Speak it with reverence. Speak it with might. Speak it with certainty. And let your life begin to match it. I transmute lust into legacy. I conquer myself daily. I live by law, by honor, by decision. I am becoming the man God intended. Again, I transmute lust into legacy. I conquer myself daily. I live by law, by honor, by decision. I am becoming the man God intended. Say it tomorrow. Say it a year from now. Say it when you feel weak. Say it when you feel strong. And in time, you will no longer be speaking to become. You will be speaking as the man who already is.